Welcome to the Mason Miller Show, where tonight we're joined by Chris Beals and, as always, my co-host, Clay Miller. Chris, how are you doing tonight?
Doing well. How are you?
Oh, not bad. So now your football career is over for now. Season.
Yes.
You're coaching. And how many years have you been doing that now?
For a long time. Did JFL for, 5, 6, 7 years, I think. Did it for 2 years when I was in college, and now I've been helping with high school for 2.
And you're probably the most winningest offensive coordinator in freshman football history.
Probably not after this.
What I've heard.
Not after this season. I mean, 4-4.
Ooh, that drags down the percentage.
But the year before that, undefeated.
Sure.
All right.
That's what we do.
Win, no matter what.
Turn out champions.
So since football's been over, what have you been doing?
Well, I work. I got COVID, so that was fun. Yeah, pretty sure I got it from somebody with the football team because my symptoms started about 3 days after our playoff game.
Nice.
But it was all minor, so I can't complain other than the fact that I still don't have my taste back, which might interfere with the sampling of the beverages, but I have it a little bit.
Have you been hunting a lot?
Yeah. Went hunting this weekend, got a nice buck. Biggest one I've ever gotten.
Jude said it was the first time he shot anything in about 9 years.
11.
But not that you're counting.
Actually, it's not true. 3 years ago, I shot one, a really nice one. And as everyone knows, my reputation is one shot, one kill. Basically a military-grade weapon. And I did shoot a really nice one.
You throw hand grenades at him.
Right, or my survival knife.
Rambo.
Yeah, I was sharpening that the other night, too, before deer season. Love that thing. The compass doesn't work anymore, so I need to get a new one, but
Still more kills than Toby Kuntz in the last 11 years.
Well, and it's funny because after he told me I was a horrible hunter Saturday morning, because I told him that I had seen a nice buck, but I couldn't get him in my sights because I couldn't get him to stop walking. So Toby tells me I'm a horrible hunter. So then I tell him that I get one, and, of course, his reply is, "Oh, that's a cute one."
Killed baby.
Which it was. I mean, it was a 9-point buck. Yeah. Not ginormous. Gannon's was bigger. I'll give him credit.
Nice.
But I was happy with it, and not to mention it was about an 80-yard kill shot. So
And it will be mounted in the dining room, right next to the table.
Yes,
or over the mantle.
Right now, it's actually in our deep freeze, which Tassie is really happy about. But
I bet.
Jude said he's going to probably kill anything that walks in front of him from now on.
Well, that's
Are you just talking deer? Or
That's what I asked him. I was hoping that's what he meant.
well, he did kill one that was the only person who I've ever seen kill a smaller one was Toby. But this one was tiny.
After he says every year, I'm going for the state record.
Right, which he stole from me, by the way.
Of course he did.
He killed it and then just picked it up and carried it out like a pup.
He killed it.
Yeah. And that's how Jude's was. It was a little button buck. And so we took it down to the processor. And we always take ours down to Jason Howe down in Mode. So for those of you who watch this, Howe's Custom Processing does a great job. Mode, Illinois.
There you go.
But anyways, we took it down there, and, of course, you're telling them what you want done with the meat, right? And Jude's like, well, I want some jerky, and I want this. And I'm like, oh. Like,
how do you want that pound and a half divided up? So give us a little background. So you graduated Shelbyville High School, grew up here. What year did you graduate?
So graduated in 95.
Then pursued your higher education?
Yep, went to Lakeland for way too long.
Uh-huh.
Initially went for physical education.
Right? Well, you thought you were going to be Coach Wolverton.
Yeah, absolutely. So there were a bunch of us from Shelbyville, obviously at Lakeland, and a bunch of us in physical education. And the instructor, can't remember her name, which is probably a good thing, was just awful. And we're all kind of like, wait a minute, this isn't what they told you college is supposed to be like. This lady's a drill sergeant. This is PE.
You're like, I didn't want to work.
Right. And so I think all of us dropped that major. So, of course, I bounced around for a long time.
Who does she think she is, trying to teach you something?
It's ridiculous.
You decided PE was not your cup of tea.
PE wasn't it. So I bounced around and changed my major about 27 times. Ended up, did this stupid thing where just one semester, this really isn't for me. And just
take some time off.
Quit going. Yep.
Regroup.
Yep. But anyways, came back, got done, transferred to Eastern, had my act together there.
Mm-hmm.
And only changed my major twice.
Right.
And
So what was your degree?
it's embarrassing.
You don't have to say. But now I'm curious. If you'd have just said it, we'd have moved right on. But now that you're making a big deal, now I really want to know.
Sociology.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
that's not bad.
And at the time, I didn't know. Like, I was thinking about potentially like law enforcement, or potentially I don't know what I was thinking, like social services.
So you didn't want to teach sociology?
No,
Well, it's not philosophy or something.
no. And it was actually like, I mean, the major was actually really interesting. I had some really, really good professors. The best professor I ever had, probably one of the top like 3 coolest guys I've ever met in my life, Craig Eckert. He was the sociology professor there. He was also the mayor of Philo,
Oh, really?
which he liked to tell us every class period.
Right.
But he was an awesome guy. He was one of those professors who, I mean, he'd see you walking down the hall and you could always hear him yelling at people. Like,
One of
and
those
once
voices.
he knew you were Clay Miller from
Just a guy's guy.
Shelbyville, and once he knew that you liked, Michael Jordan, it was Clay Miller, Michael Jordan fan. I mean, just that's the way it was. So just really charismatic, really cool
I see
guy.
why you're the mayor now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
cool.
So graduated from Eastern. Made one friend while I was there, Johnny Fitzpatrick from Chicago.
One friend. Well, the funny thing is about the degrees in college is if you want to be, obviously a doctor, a dentist, or architect, or a lawyer, an engineer, then yeah, you need to do those certain things. If you're not sure what you're going to do, and this, I'm like, do something, study something that you like,
Right.
get as good a grade as you can in it, get out of it, and then find someone who will give you a chance, because that's where you're going to learn. If you don't really know what you want to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was a history major. I thought, I was finance major half the way through because that's what everyone in my family had gotten their degrees in. And one day I was like, I hate what I study. I was getting good grades, but I hated it. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't know what I want to do, but I don't want to do this. Well, I'll go to law school, because it's 3 more years of school, and I don't really know what I want to do anyway. Got out for a year and started selling a little bit to take that year-long break after I got my bachelor's. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to go back. And, you kind of things, if you're willing to work hard and learn, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I was
I'm still not sure exactly what I want to do.
Oh, absolutely not. Like, I mean,
Well, both of you haven't hit your prime yet.
Well, exactly.
No,
Still have
I'm
time
not
to
even
figure it
close.
out.
I mean, I should be working for a professional sports franchise in their front office, doing,
Right.
Probably.
personnel evaluation.
Specifically, the Broncos,
Well,
probably.
that'd be nice.
I mean, if I should be a GM of an NBA team, but I don't like to travel and I want to live in Shelbyville, then maybe they'll let me work remotely.
right, and I hear they work a lot of hours too. So.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry West and Clay Miller right there together.
Well, it's interesting. I had back before the football season. I think it was before the spring season. I went and those cameos that you can purchase, right? So I thought about actually trying to be a good dad for one of the few times in my life, and I was going to get Jude one because he wasn't really that excited about football, and so I thought, I'm trying to get him one from a Bronco and.
Get him
and
fired
so,
up.
Yeah, so I requested one from Jerry.
Get him a gift that you would love.
Absolutely. Something that I can utilize
Right,
forever.
right.
No, because he's about as passionate about the Broncos as I am. So
Okay.
he's just a little over the top.
Jude or Gannon?
Jude.
Okay, so Jude's your youngest.
No, he's my middle one. I have a daughter.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't count her. I'm talking boys. Okay. Why don't you say your kids so we know who you're talking about?
So we have Gannon, Jude, and Misha,
Ages?
18, 17, and 14.
Nice job. Nice work.
Thank you. Thank
Do you
you.
remember?
Right.
Surprised you remembered all of them.
Well, I do get accused of not remembering Misha.
Right. Well,
Quite
that's
often.
what I say. I was just referring to your boys.
Yeah.
And she'll be by far the pick of the litter, but go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. So anyway, so I bought him a cameo, right? And it was going to be Jerry Jeudy, but he didn't respond to it, so he's dead to me. But so ended up Malik Reed, who's an outside linebacker on the Broncos. Jude likes him, so he actually got one, but he was having issues like with getting it. So he was like, "Can I just email it to you?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." So he emailed it to me. So obviously, I sent my resume and said, "Can you get this Delway?"
Right.
How much was it? How much was the cameo?
For Reed, I think like $50, $75, something like that.
Some of those are
Oh,
crazy
some of them
how
are really
expensive they
expensive.
are.
We've
How much to get your resume in front of Elway?
I can't say that on here.
Right. It's still your people are still dealing with his people.
Yeah, they're going to try to get in
Negotiations are
touch.
going on. Ongoing.
We bought a couple cameos at work last couple years ago, and one was, well, I wanted to actually spend a little bit of money, and I wanted to get Aaron Andrews because we were trying to get like
we did at our company. They did Aaron Andrews,
Nice.
and Emmett Smith, And
That's cool.
even though I hate the Broncos, so I had to make sure all the Bronco fans knew. I said, "Oh, look, one of the best Arizona Cardinals ever to play." Actually, one of the most average Arizona Cardinals ever to play.
He was a Cowboy, not a Bronco.
I mean, no, yeah,
said
right,
Minnesota,
Cowboy.
right?
Did I say Bronco?
Yeah.
No, I meant Cowboys. I like the Broncos. I can't
I
stand
have,
the
I
Cowboys.
have no problem with the Broncos.
Okay. So we did a cameo with, so I wanted to do Aaron Andrews, right? Plus wanted to appeal to, some of the women in the company and things like that.
That
But
sounds kind of sexist. That women would have to see another woman to be.
Well,
But
Chris is a team player.
yeah, I'm a team player. So
Okay.
anyways, I kind of got overruled. So we did Montel Jordan.
Montel,
Remember the guy that sang like
Yeah, this is how we do it.
Yeah, but anyway, so he wrote a song about our company, right? And sang
Oh,
it to
man,
that.
he is hard up, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For
So,
25
One hit
bucks.
wonder.
But then we did one that was centered around like dealing with stress because we were getting ready to go into our peak season, which is right now. So we got Gary Busey.
Oh, he would be awesome. I
Oh,
think he's
gosh.
great.
He is insane.
And I'm pretty sure he was under the influence of something.
Well,
Right?
I think he was under the
yeah.
influence for so many decades. He's just permanently under the influence. But he's so
I
good.
love the way that dude talks.
It was hilarious. People loved. Like I wasn't sure if it would resonate, right?
Right.
Because we have a really young company, and but people loved it. And he was once again, like I say, because he threw out a couple, zingers, and
That's
so-
a great one. I never thought of him, but he would be perfect. But I will say Emmitt Smith was very good, even as it pains me as a Cowboy hater. That's just because like the Chiefs. But Aaron Andrews was excellent
Really?
too. She was really good. Yes.
So the Malik Reed's was really, really good too. His was like 2 minutes long, and
Really?
and he actually talked to Jude about like he had switched positions his senior year of college, and that was kind of part of the deal too. Like Jude was switching positions, and
trying to get
wasn't
him
real happy
revved
about
up,
it.
yeah.
So yeah, and he was just talking about it's all about your mindset and things like. So I mean, he actually put some thought
great.
into it. So yeah, it was
Wow.
pretty cool.
You responded right away?
Mhm.
Wow. Some of those guys, like I sent one into the show, the Trailer Park Boys. I
Yeah,
was
so
gonna-
so this is the mentality. You're talking about professional football players on the Broncos, Aaron Andrews, at the top of her profession, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. My kids think about the trailer part.
So I sent one into one of the characters, Bubbles. He's on there. The dude is hilarious. I was trying to get him. I think he was busy filming something, their new series, and he never got back to me because he's taking a break from it. But I listened to some of his that he made, and they are hilarious.
Happy birthday.
Oh, they're so funny.
Yeah.
If he would respond,
He was trying to get one, I think, for Malcolm for his birthday or something last
he
year.
was coming back off of his heart stuff, and we were gonna get him that.
So I was looking at one. Oops.
It
and
rattles with the
So Vince Neil was on there. Now I don't know if he's
wow.
still on there or not, but I happened to. I guess I wasn't looking for this. I saw it
Father
on-
Time has not been kind to Vince Neil.
He's been working out. Okay. Now
Have you been training him?
Well,
You
I'm
could.
trying to.
He won't get up at 4 a.m. with Chris.
I
Go
did-
run the damn hill.
I did.
Put the log over your back.
I did apply for a job at his farm once.
Are you serious?
What job was it?
No, I'll tell you what this was. This is one of those desperate moments when he was miserable early on, and you're like, I'm putting on the application. I'm going to try.
I'm going to work for Motley Crue.
So, so
Be
he
ready.
he actually, believe it or not, he lives in Nashville.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he actually put on his Facebook page or Instagram page, whatever, that he was looking for somebody, and I can't remember the name of it now.
Who
that-
can stack Marshall amps 20 high?
No, much worse. Who could clean out his horse stalls?
You're like, I can do that.
I did. I said, I don't know what. Once again, I can't remember what the term was. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I'd be very interested in it. I'm like, my phone number is, and I actually called. They had a phone number.
No
on there. I
way.
left a voicemail.
You're like, I've been.
What if you would have picked up?
So then, huh?
If you would have picked up, what would you have done?
Well, after,
hung up because
Well-
obviously he's a complete failure if he's down to answering his own phone now.
Exactly. So Vince and I actually have a relationship. We shook hands down to St. Louis once, so we're pretty tight.
Were you going to say, hey,
Pretty
I'm
tight.
that guy that time at that concert in St. Louis that you shook hands?
And I wouldn't let go, and security had to come.
Can you
Right.
tell us?
I got
can you-
tased.
Can you tell them what you did at the last Motley Crue concert ever? At the last song, what did you and a couple other guys do?
Now tell us when the concert. When did you last see
It was their
Motley Crue?
farewell tour.
So we went to,
Was it Indianapolis?
yeah, we went over by Noblesville, I believe.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was It was Motley, Alice Cooper, who put on a great show.
I heard they're great at that. That's what Toby said. Alice Cooper puts on a great show.
Alice Cooper was awesome. Motley was it was really early in the tour, like maybe third show or so. And I know that there was a little bit of sound difficulties at the beginning, but then they got it, nailed in. So it was a good show. Not the best I've ever seen them. The best show I've ever seen them put on was in Peoria in 2005. It was on their Red, White, and Crew, their Carnival of Sins tour. And they didn't have an opening band, so they played for like 2.5 hours. And it was awesome.
Played like everything.
Everything. Yeah. And it was the third show of that tour, because they actually filmed a little bit of it, but then for their live DVD, they actually did it in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
I was going to say, you didn't make the cut of the Motley Crue Netflix.
It is on the DVD. They show like those like the scenes where they're like fast forwarding it, but it shows it from like start to finish. And that part of that was shot in Peoria.
I thought you were going to say, yeah, you were in the opening scene in there.
But what was kind of funny about that one was we're sitting there, and we weren't on the floor, but we were like, a couple rows up from the floor, like dead center. And I see a guy in like the sound booth or whatever that is, and I'm like, man, that looks like Trevor France. And there for a while, like Trevor was one of those guys that would always show up somewhere. You're like, how is he in Springfield when I'm here? Or whatever, right? And, of course, Tassie's like, that can't be him. And I'm like, I think it is. So I waved at him, and, like, he waves back, right? And I'm like, how is he, So, anyways, He comes walking up, and he's got something in his hands. And I'm like, backstage passes. Backstage passes. Well, it was just a copy of the playlist, but, that's kind of how my life goes.
Right. You were all in a massive letdown.
Hosed.
Big time letdown. We went.
Didn't you ask him? Didn't you say, hey, is there any way? Chris,
I don't know.
You got to pull the trigger. I mean,
I get nervous. And
you're like, what if Vince recognizes me as the guy that didn't hung on too long? They tased me, and I get up with that big urine stain on my jeans because I lost control.
I will admit, if I had a little more Tim Miller in me,
just got to put it out there, man.
It's kind of, can't believe I just said that out loud. Going back to the college days, the night before my last college final ever, it was a summer class. Political sociology, best class I ever took. Mm-hmm. Anyways, the night before, we went to Peoria and saw the Glam Slam Metal Jam tour. Which
always recommended the night before a final.
Absolutely, but so it was Poison, Warrant, Quiet Riot.
How could you not go?
Well, absolutely.
Should I grind
That's
in the
just
library,
a no-brainer.
or should I go to a concert all night?
It seems like a no-brainer to me.
So I was the responsible one, and I was the DD. Okay?
Good for you.
Yep, which... but
did you take your book into the concert?
No, I tried to enjoy the show.
Right.
I remember my wife about got us all into a fight. Imagine that. But she'll claim she did nothing wrong.
Right.
Maybe she didn't. But
well, she knows there's no chance of her getting punched in the face.
True.
Right.
This is true. This is true. And the guy was out of line. All she was doing was trying to stand on a chair. Maybe it was his chair. I don't know. But,
Trying to stay.
But where I'm going with this, so after the show ended, so it was Tassie, Tim Miller, probably Leslie, I'm guessing. I know Monica was there, a few others. Well, the show ends, we go out to our vehicle in the parking lot, and Tim is nowhere to be found. Mm-hmm. So once again, I have a college final at, not just that it's the next day, but it's at 8 a.m.
Right.
Right? And we're in Peoria.
It probably already is the next day right now.
It was getting close.
Right, yeah.
So we... And keep in mind, too, this was before everyone had cell phones on them. Like, you might have had a cell phone, the one that you paid like $9.95 a month for, and you didn't carry it on you.
No,
Right? So you're not, it's not like you can just call somebody or text them or whatever.
Right.
So a couple of hours later, Tim finally comes walking across the parking lot.
You're sitting there for 2 hours waiting for this?
Yes. Like, dude, where have you been? He goes, I thought I was going to get backstage. I saw a line of people. He goes, I thought it was going to be my chance to meet Bret Michaels.
So he gets in this random line?
Yeah. And of course, he didn't get backstage. Like I think it was a backstage line, but of course, they shut it down before they got to him.
Sure.
For obvious reasons. I'm sure they probably
He didn't notice like all the blonde chicks and leather pants and then him standing there. Like, who's not getting in?
They got the Eddie Murphy red leather pants on.
Yeah, so we got back around 3 a.m. So,
nice.
But
so you were ready to roll.
I got an A on the test.
It was sheer
It all worked
adrenaline
out.
that got you through that, wasn't it?
That's right.
And you went and slept the rest of the day.
But I mean, that's what you do. You do anything for rock and roll.
Yeah, right.
Well, we're going to take our first quick break, and we'll be back with more from Chris.
So, No Bad Days is having a special day coming.
Yes, Friday, December 3rd, Santa and Mrs. Claus are going to be there.
And some guy's going to be there carving up some ice.
Oh, yeah. I guess he's an Olympic gold medalist. Well, I don't know if it's gold, but Olympic medalist.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the gold part.
But still, that's pretty awesome. So he's going to be there. And something else. They're going to be selling something of yours, I think, out there.
Frosty root beer with the Santa on the label.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone goes crazy for.
Yeah, so I think, it'd be good. Buy your kids a Frosty soda, watch the ice sculptor, visit with Santa. They're going to have Santa t-shirts that are also made by Triton Tees. They're very cool.
So go out there to No Bad Days Farm on Saturday. Check it out. Buy a shirt. Watch a guy carve some ice. Buy a root beer and have some fun.
Welcome back to the Mason Miller Show. We're still joined with Chris Beals, and we're going to try our first soda, the Twigs Sour Soda. And let's give it a shot.
All right.
I mean, that is...
I don't think it's bad.
Tell you what, I liked it, but once again, I'm probably not getting the full.
I wouldn't drink a whole bottle of it. That's the thing.
This tastes like something that you would use, like if you're making like a cocktail or something. This was a...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would recommend it.
Take it up to Joe's and have Megan work her magic with something that would be pretty good, though.
If you like sour stuff, then that's the drink for you, because, wow, that is sour.
Yeah.
What so far is like the most popular brand?
Definitely the Frosty vanilla root beer, the one you like, or just the regular Frosty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those all do pretty well. They're kind of a classic. That's what people like about the root beer.
The Frosty regular root beer is the best root beer I've ever had. I really like the Grapette.
That was
soda.
good. Yep.
Yeah. Just as something different,
I thought the cream soda
Shirley
was
Temple.
pretty good too.
Cream soda was pretty good.
My
And I'm not a
favorite.
big cream soda guy, but the other one that I really liked, and I don't see it up there right now, is the what was the red one that's really blue, or the blue one that's really red?
Sorry, Snowflake.
Sorry, Snowflake.
Oh, that was the one Pete and Laura
Yeah,
tried.
that's the one
yeah.
I tried.
Okay.
That was really good.
Yeah, everyone seemed to like that when you guys tried it.
Yeah.
It was pretty good, yeah. It was one of the better ones we've had.
Mm-hmm.
I
Besides
felt
the
I was feeling a little sorry for you guys on that episode. Thank God Laura was there to carry the show, but
Kind of like the restaurant.
yeah,
Well,
that's
yeah.
exactly what I was thinking. I love you, Pete.
Yeah, that's what we always tell Pete. So, how long have you worked for Laura?
So, besides coaching football, you also coach baseball.
Yep.
And you've coached me for, I don't know how many times, Little League and in the summer. And
you're a better man for it.
Right.
there's always been a comparison between you and Toby Kuntz as who's the best coach. And he told me in Little League, you asked me in Little League, who do you like me more, Toby or me? And I think I said Toby.
Yeah, you did. You did. I'm really surprised that I'm even sitting here, but
Right.
He's
He's had a lot of more time with you now, though, since he had a shoulder injury and had a DH and just sat in the dugout.
We had a lot of good talks.
Get all the wisdom.
and you got to understand a lot of Toby. He's kind of surface level. I go a lot deeper.
get-
Right.
So
I mean, you really care about the team. and
Absolutely.
You're there early, taking care of the field.
well, that's after a couple hours of film study in the morning. So
You're developing them as men, future
absolutely,
leaders.
Going
absolutely.
out, scouting. You
Well,
know.
I mean, you got to. I mean,
Right.
how else can you have a career baseball coaching record of probably 40 games under 500?
So,
Well, Chris's thing, I remember when we were all back in the day when all you kids were little and you were a little league coach, we would all laugh because every year through the season, you'd be like, this is my last year, I'm done. There's no way I'm coaching next year. No way. And we would all be like, okay.
and
then
here
next
he is
year,
still
be like,
coaching.
yeah, I guess I'll take a team.
You got suckered in.
that only happened about 7 years running.
We always said it's been Beal's final year. He's been on a final year tour for 7 years now, retirement tour.
I mean, I figure if bands can do it, year
right.
over year, why not?
Absolutely.
Well, and the hard part is that you get into especially some of my kids' grades, there weren't a lot of people out there that would do things.
Right.
So then once you kind of start doing it, I don't want to say it's expected, but I did a couple years of travel basketball.
Right.
And had no business doing that, but we did the best we could, and I think we actually did pretty well. The kids did well. They got
And it's
better.
fun for Us.
Yeah.
It's the same two, depending on the grade, it's the same 2 to 5 dads that kind of do all that stuff when you're younger. So you kind of just, okay, who's going to take this round,
Yep. Basketball was interesting. That was we played some tough teams. I think we started a season once, and our first game of the year was a tournament. So it's not like we did this on purpose, but our first game of the year was T-Town.
Mm-hmm.
At halftime, I believe it was 39-2. Something.
So you guys were really putting it on them.
Yeah, it was close.
It was tied 0-0.
Right. You guys hung right with them the first 20 seconds, and after that, it got ugly.
Well, I mean, I think Malcolm was a victim of this for a while, because I know Gannon was, those couple of grades for T-Town, I mean, whether it was baseball, basketball, like they would always knock us out like regional championship in baseball or sectionals or whatever. I mean, yeah, the Addis kid, the Rue Halls. I mean, just obviously every year they're good, but
right. It's amazing how rare that is anymore and how tough it is in basketball to win a region. Well, really, anything. I mean, yeah. Right,
Every
to win a
sport.
regional.
I mean, even look at baseball this year. I mean,
Yeah.
we hadn't done that forever,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or even like looking at it, when Malcolm was playing basketball and Coach Curtis was back. I mean, I didn't even realize that it had been so long since we'd won the conference and whatever else, won the Vandalia tournament or whatever.
Had 20 wins.
I know the
something like that.
I know the team before that won the Vandalia tournament.
What was that? Hurtis Fires?
No, it's of course he was on it.
No. 91, class of 91, 92, baby.
Gosh.
Yeah. And if you'd have told me back then, hey, congratulations, next time we'll win this will be your son. I would be like, you got to be kidding me, especially with the crew that was coming up behind us. And that,
Yeah, true.
The best teams ever coming behind us. So anyway.
Speaking of sports, did you play football in high school?
Oh, you don't know how bad that insults him that you just asked that. I mean, that
I know, that's why I just wanted to do
offends
that.
him.
What was the question?
Were you pretty good?
I mean, I was okay. We were competitive. Unfortunately we didn't have the success we wanted. Sophomore year we made the playoffs, but I did enough to earn a varsity letter, but I got ineligible that season in Spanish too.
Teacher's fault.
Well, she did have a little bit of responsibility, I think. And I say that because, so this was back in the days of, what was it called, 8 block?
Mm-hmm.
Where you had, and I don't know. Okay, so.
They started that right after us.
Okay, so you only had.
What is that?
You only had like a class like twice a week, and then I think the next week it was 3 times a week or something like that. So you didn't have a lot of grades. And you could have pretty lengthy periods between having grades.
Right.
So I got ineligible because, once again, this is going to shock you, but I thought it'd be more fun to be the joker and not take things seriously and things like that. So I get called to the coach's office, and, I get told that I'm ineligible. And, of course, I'm like, oh. And Coach Wolverton says, "What are you ineligible in?" I said, "Spanish 2." He goes, "What the hell are you taking that for? You planning on moving to Argentina?" and I go, "Well, it's college prep, so like I have to take foreign language."
Oh man, Spanish 1, Spanish 2. I hated that.
Then Will was like,
yeah, gee, I'll tell you what. So, but they went, and one of the coaches went and talked to the teacher, and she's like, "Look, if he applies himself and he tries, blah blah blah, we're not gonna have any grades, but he'll be eligible the following week."
and you're like, I never thought of that. I'll apply myself and try.
What? So I did. I really took it seriously. I actually did what you're supposed to do as a student. And then the next week comes and she didn't make me eligible. So, after plotting, bombing her house, and which I never did.
Disclaimer, the Mason Miller Show does not condone.
So anyways, our sophomore year, we were good. We won the conference. Got beat in the first round of the playoffs.
It's probably a
by
pretty
Marshall.
tough conference at that time.
Well, absolutely. It was the old Mid-State Conference back when men were men.
Yeah, not this
And,
this joke of a conference you guys
Yeah.
have now.
Yeah,
I know.
this conference is okay, but
Breeze Mater Day,
We got a couple tough
Greenville,
teams. We
Vandalia.
got St. T, Tuscola. That's a tough football.
oh no,
team.
we actually are in a really, really good conference, extremely competitive. But
A&M.
the Mid-State was a different era, right?
Yeah.
I mean, once again,
We played Breeze Mater
Right.
Day. They'd have
Wait,
ran over St. T back in the day.
and Pana too.
Pana,
Vandalia.
Hillsboro, Vandalia.
Hillsboro's probably good at football, weren't they? They're usually pretty tough.
They
They
were.
were wrestling and football when we were there.
Yeah, my senior year, they made the playoff. They had brought a new coach in, and they were a pretty hard-nosed group because they'd been bad before that. We played Monticello, which, they would have been part of the conference. And then we had
Monticello wasn't in our conference.
They weren't? Okay, but then they must have been a non-conference game, but they were always last game of
Because
the
even
year.
Sullivan wasn't. We were kind of the north.
Was Tolono
North
in
End.
your conference?
No. We always
Or is that too
played.
far?
We had Sullivan, Argenta, Orienta, and then my junior year, we had a non-conference game against St. T. So we got St. T and Breeze.
Wow.
That's tough.
And then you would get into your conference play with Greenville, Vandalia,
Right.
so on and so forth. So
Breeze was so dominant that they, I don't think they ever, was it basketball that, I don't know if they had lost a home basketball conference game, and I don't know how long it went. And I know that there was I remember playing at Pana one night. We were junior, senior year, and there was a timeout, and they would announce all the scores in the conference, like who's, playing who. And, Pana and Shelbyville just did not, those games were wars, and the gym was packed. And they announced that Greenville was up at halftime or something on Breeze by like 4 points, and both sides stood up and applauded. It was a one thing.
Everyone hated Breeze.
Yeah, everyone hated Breeze. Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine that.
yeah, we so they were like our sophomore year, we beat them. It was up here, but I think they were a really young team. And then our junior year, we went down there, and of course, they just annihilated us. And then our senior year, we played them on senior night, and pulled off one of what I like to call the greatest upset in Illinois high school football history with 17-14 victory. Blake Tucker
Over
with a
Breeze?
big field goal. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like to talk about it all the time,
Right.
like daily.
Right.
Still,
We beat them in basketball here, and I think that was the first time that Shelbyville had beat them in basketball that I ever know of.
we had on Instagram. I don't know. It's probably been a couple months ago. Somebody, or it was like an ESPN post or whatever, and they asked like, "What's your like favorite sports memory you've ever been a part of," or something like that. And I put in there Shelbyville, Illinois beating Breeze.
You still have dreams of it. You're striking, this gets published, and then Elway sees it. I could see this all working out. The Broncos, I can still get in.
I will still like very randomly, like I'll get on Twitter or whatever, and it'll be some post, somebody asking about like who's the best quarterback of all time. I always have tag Elway, and I'm like, you never know, you might get a reply,
Right.
or
You
just
might.
that like.
Yeah. Thanks for always being there for me, Chris.
So you're saying you'd pack everything up and move that night if he said, "I got you a job in Denver"?
Yes.
Leave everyone behind and
Yes.
just.
And you cut him off right there, and you get out there, and he finishes the sentence, mowing my grass.
I'd be more than happy to, Mr. Elway.
Be like Caddyshack.
Maybe you could stop
What
by
do
the
you say?
stadium later.
What do you say? You go by the stadium. You can mow my lawn.
So Jude likes to tell the story. A couple of years ago, he and I went over to Indianapolis to watch the Colts at Broncos, and we got there extra early. He wanted to try and get some autographs. He wanted to try and get autographs, right?
Yeah,
Right.
he did.
You didn't
Not
want to be
you.
part of that, did you?
Not you.
You're pushing little 5-year-old kids out of the way to get down there doing the George Costanza.
So we're standing there, and we're on the Broncos sideline, and there's thought there. Like I said, it's really early. They don't even have like their shoulder pads on or whatever, but they're
Right.
starting to warm up, and we're trying to kind of like figure out like where's the best place we should go to maybe try and get some autographs or whatever. And
And you're thinking, maybe if they spot me stand up, they're going to be like, hey, that guy's got to be a former player with a physique like that.
yeah, I mean,
Aren't you the guy that beat Breeze your senior year?
he's got to be.
I read about that in ESPN.
He's got to be better than Joe Flacco at this point. So anyways, we're standing there, and it was actually pretty cool. One of the guys that worked for the Colts or whatever came over, and he's like, hey, he's talking to Jude. He's like, you want to hold the game ball? And of course, Jude's like, yeah, sure. So he tossed us a game ball, which that was kind of cool. But anyway, so we're
I
standing
can't believe
there.
Jude didn't just take off running with it up there.
All right, we're done.
See you, sucker.
So I do have a funny story at the end of the game that will not surprise you one bit. But so
I can
we're
imagine.
Yeah. So we're standing there, and once again, this is kind of Jude telling the story. So we're standing there, we're trying to figure out where to go, and my dad, all of a sudden I hear my dad go, there's Elway. He goes, and I look over, my dad's already 100 feet away. And so we go over to the opposite side to the tunnel, by the tunnel. And Jude's actually cleaning up. He's getting some autographs, and I'm just standing there. Well, Elway's out there probably, I don't know, 20 yards off the off the sideline.
I'm not sure. Is that Elway? Oh, yeah. Look at the size of those choppers. That's Elway.
See, that's uncalled for. So he had a beautiful navy blue suit on.
Right.
Beautiful.
Then Bronco blue.
So anyways, he's talking like two guys or whatever. And, of course, a bunch of the fans are trying to get his attention, and he's not really turning around. But there's a lady standing next to me, and she's got like a custom-made Elway for President 2020 sign, but like a collar, like an actual real poster, right? Not just like a marker or drawn one or whatever. Well, someone gets his attention. He turns around and sees that, and kind of gives her the thumbs up, whatever, And so anyways, the usher comes over, and he's like, all right, guys, we got like 5 minutes, and you need to go to your seats. I'm like, oh, man, so I go over to get Jude. I'm like, hey, we might as well head to our seats. And as I do that, I'd been standing up against the fence row. Elway starts walking along signing autographs. Oh. So I work my way back over, right? And once again, this is Jude telling the story. It's like my dad, a 40-ish-year-old man going, John, Mr. Elway, Mr. Elway, which is true. I couldn't speak. And, I was terrified. Even,
right.
Lifelong here. Anyways, he stops the person before me. So had I not left to go over and get Jude.
Story
of your life. Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Hosed again.
I know. But anyway, I was, and all I had for him was a ticket stub, right? Or my chest. And
sign it on my forehead, please.
But it was pathetic. Like,
yeah. Do you mind taking this tattoo machine and tattooing?
So anyway, we go back. The Broncos lose by 3 points or whatever on a long field goal.
Should have put Elway in.
Oh, well, yeah.
Or Chris.
The bar is pretty low at this point in Denver for quarterback play. So
right.
So anyways, we lose a close game, but like last play of the game, Flacco's just standing there, and it's kind of like a Hail Mary situation. He's just standing there, and you're like, throw the ball. He doesn't throw the ball. He gets annihilated. Fumbles, and the game's over. Well, Jude's got a hot chocolate in his hand.
Oh, no.
Of course, it gets flung into the little brick, right? Like, thankfully, we didn't have like people sitting in front of us, right? But of course, I'm just like, are you kidding me?
You're gonna be like, can you believe this kid? Whose kid is this?
Which, by the way, I'm probably gonna be in trouble for telling that story, so feel free to edit that part out. So
right. Yeah.
Anyways, we did have a good time though. So
speaking of autographs, it is like being starstruck. Like I remember we were at an Indiana Pacers game, and I was looking at throughout the crowd, and I spotted Larry Bird sitting over there, and he was hard to find. And I went over there and went down, and I asked the security guard if I could get his autograph, and he said, "Sure, yeah, go down there." And looked up at him. We made eye contact, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's Larry Bird.
Nice,
it's pretty crazy.
He does it all. He tells that story all the time because so Malcolm, of course, Mason was really little, and Malcolm was only 3 years older, and I said, hey, go with your brother around there. Of course, Malcolm's like, I'm not going over there. I'm not doing that. Of course. I'm like, why? Go get an autograph. He's like, nah, it's just his name on a piece of paper. It's Malcolm.
Like it's Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Malcolm doesn't care. So anyway, Mason's like, yeah, I'll go. So I was like, all right. I'd take him around there, and to get down to where Bird was, because Bird would settle in the corner about 15.
He's in the middle section.
Yeah, and he'd get about 12 rows up. Like he
wanted to blend.
Yeah. So we go up there, and I was like, is there any way we can go down and get his autograph? And the usher's like not having it. Looks at me, and then he looks at Mason. He goes, I'll let him go. I'm like, okay. And so all he had was his ticket stub. So he goes down there, and I'm like, make sure you get up to him. You say, thank you and all that. And so he did, got it, comes running back up, and he goes, he looked right at me and said, you're welcome.
It's probably one of the coolest things he's ever said to me.
He's like, can you believe that?
Is that the most famous person you've gotten an autograph?
Yeah.
I've actually, not autograph-wise, but I did get Spike Lee to comment back at me on Instagram. I said something he didn't like, apparently, and he commented back at me. Apparently he doesn't have too much
probably
going on these days.
Probably a Reggie Miller comment or something like that. But, yeah, so... Yeah, he was proud, too, that he got a response on Instagram.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah. Oh, those are great.
Great job of making a celebrity angry at you.
I got it framed, and it's in my room now.
I learned my lesson one time on Twitter where I'd kind of gotten into this habit of when these moron celebrities would tweet, certainly like political things, right? So I got to where I would always just comment. My go-to line was "Get a life." Not that that's even that clever or anything. It just kind of happened,
right?
And then Jamie Johnson would always see it. He'd be like, "I saw your Get Alive comment."
Yeah,
And,
that's your standard MO.
So I made the mistake of saying it on. I don't even know who this person was, and I mean, I got attacked. Like the Twitter mob came after me.
Twitter mafia.
Like,
Here they come.
Like my notifications were going crazy. Like I'm like blocking people. Like I changed my like handle, you know.
So
and
Mr. Tough Guy's out. You're like, I'm out.
He changed his handle.
Yeah, and like, of course, people would call me out on, "Oh, Tough Guy deletes his," and I'm like, and I wanted to be like, I was joking, like it was totally harmless. But apparently, this person that I commented on, like they were a veteran, which anybody who knows me knows I have the utmost respect for vet. It had nothing to do with them being a veteran. It was it was whatever their stance was. So yeah, I learned my lesson, and for the most part, I'll just. I might like a comment, but that's about it.
You got canceled.
Before it was really in vogue.
Right.
So it was.
I've not been around too many celebrities. The one time that was, it's always a little bit embarrassing with Jill because we were out to dinner in Chicago years ago, and we were with another couple, and we went to Ditka's restaurant to eat. And they didn't have seating in the main in the lower part. They said you might eat seating upstairs. And we're like, wherever. So we go upstairs and we sit down, and lo and behold, there's one other couple, and they sit down, and I mean they're the next table, and I look over there, and I'm like, oh man, that is Mike Ditka, and Boss Krause were with us, and Rob's like, yeah, that's definitely Ditka. He was 8 feet from me, and they're just chatting it up, and look at Jill, and I go, that's Mike Ditka, and she's like, who's that? I go, used to coach the Bears. So
Bears.
She didn't even know who it was, and then immediately she's like, oh, Mr. Ditka, can we get a picture? And I'm like, oh God, there were
It's
those
that
people.
one. That one in the Stan Musial story.
No, it wasn't Stan Musial. It was
Or Jack Buck.
But
No,
anyway, I mean, they're a nicest. Where are you from? Where are you talking? Make sure you order this and that. I mean, just the whole meal, just chatting it up. He and his wife, and he's like, absolutely, come on over here. And we're in our 20s at the time, so he's probably like, yeah, come on over here. And I'm just sitting there like, oh Lord. But they were great. But yeah, Jill was like, who is it? Oh yeah, we need a picture. And then we're coming out of Old Busch Stadium. We had great seats one day, and we're down there in the little tunnel area, and I just happened to glance to my right, and Jack Buck is standing right there, and I'm like, that was the most, like, I don't think I would get starstruck much, but that caught me, and I was like, oh my gosh, Jack, and I just stopped, and Jill's like, what? I go, that's Jack Buck. And, of course, she springs into action. Mr. Buck, can I get a picture? And, of course, he's like, well, sure, come on over. And she stands there, and somebody's taking a picture, and and I'm standing there against the wall like a moron. I don't even get in. And then he's like, well, I don't think that flashed. Can you take another one? Is that a good one? Well, enjoy the game. Good to see. And I'm just standing like a moron. And yeah,
You're
she would have
still
never even
staring at
known him. I'm like, the whole time I'm like, man, that's freaking Jack Buck, and I could have had my picture with him, and that would have like meant something. It would be hanging up in here now. And Jill's like, that was fun. Okay, now what? So those are my
Mom
two.
has no fear.
Those are my only two.
Because all mine have either been like, once again, like as Vince is performing, shaking his hand, or Tommy Lee came running out through the crowd and I tapped him on the shoulder, which was pretty cool. I think I got hepatitis from it. But,
Probably you got a contact high.
How long did you wait to wash that hand?
oh, I still haven't. Even through COVID, I don't wash my hands. See, Tassie and I, we made Brett Michaels' Twitter page once. I mean, you had to like zoom in the picture and you had to know exactly where we were sitting.
But you were there.
But, I mean,
You
that's
took a picture
deal.
of the stadium of 50,000.
That's a big deal.
You're claiming that we're there.
You see now right there.
Like those pictures of the Beatles or the Stones or something, 100,000 people. Yeah, we're there.
Which is funny because I was watching a DVD, or I guess it was being shown on MTV or something. It was a Poison concert at St. Louis, and Tim McConnell and Tim Miller went to it. Mm-hmm. And the camera pans along, and you see Miller and McConnell right there. I'm
Of
like,
course.
Are you kidding
Again.
me? I'm like,
It's like
unbelievable.
John Elway coming
luck.
down to sign autographs once again.
As usual.
You know what? I think I'm going to stop right here at this big creepy guy that keeps whispering Mr. Elway at me, pushing the 6-year-olds down.
I managed to pull it off pretty professionally for the most part. We had I was going through some resumes at work, and we were looking to hire like an operations manager at one of our facilities. Mm-hmm. And I'm going through these resumes, and I come across this one. I'm looking through it, and the name sounded familiar, but not, I'm like, whatever. So I'm reading through it, and it's like, it's got his work history, and it's Denver Broncos. And
Hired.
Like, yeah. Well, trust me.
I think I found a new vice president.
So I did. I reached out to him, and I set up an interview with him, and it was
First question you ask.
No, so here's where I'm proud of myself for being somewhat professional.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna go this whole interview without being a fanboy, right? We're just gonna talk work, because he was an engineer, and so we did. We were going through it, and he had brought up a couple times, very minor, just kind of brought it up, which I'm sure he's probably thinking to himself, don't play that card either. And granted, he never even made the active roster. He was with him a couple years, and his name was it Rulon? He was a wrestler. He had a cool story.
Wow.
I can't think of a college wrestler, not like WWE, Ric Flair, but
right.
That'd have been even
So not a real wrestler.
that'd have been cooler.
I have a story about a professional wrestler. I forgot that. Anyway.
Yeah. So, anyways, until the very end, I finally said, well, okay. I'm like, I've played this off so far. I'm like, but I'm a huge Denver Broncos fan. I'm like,
this in.
I gotta ask you. I'm like, what was it like? And he was like, dude, it was the coolest 2 years of my life. He's like, because you felt like every day was a dream, because you'll be in the locker room and you're looking across and you're staring at Champ Bailey's locker or whoever. He's like, it was unbelievable.
It's probably not making much money, but you get to
still-
be part of all that.
Yeah, exactly.
You still know John Elway. That's what you should have asked him.
So I don't know. I can't remember for sure if I brought up Elway, because I think that's where I was trying to be really
Cool about it.
Yeah. So I tried to kind of play off his answer with the Champ Bailey thing, and like, oh, yeah. And
Oh, yeah, you probably see Elway around, huh? And then you just freeze and you won't respond until he goes, huh? Huh?
so, do you have anything with Elway's signature on it by chance?
Is there any way you could get me to his house? I want to see his basement, his trophy room.
And when I say see his basement, I mean not through a telescope like I've
No.
done several times.
Not tunnel in through the sump pit like I've done before. That's good.
Oh God, I'm pathetic. It's really, really sad.
No, it's not.
Hey,
It's John Elway.
Absolutely,
You got to do what you got to do.
absolutely.
Well, on that note, we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be back with more.
Where do you think you're going to put a tree that big? Bend over and I'll show you.
If you're looking to get into the Christmas spirit, then the one place to go is Triton Tees, located at Jake's Antiques right here in Shelbyville. And if you want the perfect shirt for Christmas, then Triton Tees has it with the Griswold Family Christmas T-shirts made available this Christmas season. Welcome back to the Mason Miller Show. We're joined with Chris Beals still, and we're going to try our second soda, the Butterscotch Beer, which, in case you're wondering, it is non-alcoholic. So let's give it a try.
Smells like butterscotch.
It's pretty sweet.
it's very
It is pretty
butterscotchy.
sweet.
If you like butterscotch, you would love it. I'm not a big butterscotch guy.
I'll tell you what, if you put some vanilla ice cream in there, I think you'd have a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
think you
See
would.
what
Make
you
a little
mean.
float.
Oh yeah.
That is legit butterscotchy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty good.
It tastes just like the candies.
I don't know that I think Twig might be a little bit better,
I like Twig.
but I think I'm telling you, Twig, once again, for that cocktail,
Mm-hmm.
butterscotch, get you some of that ice cream, and oh yeah.
I mean, if you're a big butterscotch guy, you'd like that. But I'm butterscotch. Yeah, I mean, I just don't really like
I
butterscotch.
mean, at your age, you probably eat a lot of those butterscotch hard candies, right?
Yeah, man. Every old person house you ever went to had those, didn't they, in the dish? And you didn't even like them, but you'd eat them anyway because
Oh, yeah.
no, it's candy.
Those, and then my great grandma always had a bowl of candy corn. No matter, it didn't have to be like fall or whatever.
Right.
She always had candy corn.
Love
So-
candy corn.
Oh yeah.
So good.
I don't know why so many people are hard on it.
Well, I think
They're not American.
I think it was 25 till I
Part of
ever
it.
actually had
Liberals.
candy corn where somebody dropped peanuts in it. That changed everything. You have candy corn with peanuts.
Yeah.
Then it tastes like something else, and I don't know what it is.
Like candy corn with peanuts,
Yeah, kind
something like that.
It tastes like Twix or something, I think, doesn't it? Or Payday. Okay, that's what it is.
Okay,
does.
I can see
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I'm telling you,
yeah.
it'll blow your mind.
Yeah. What about like I've heard? I think Don Kuntz was the one that really likes
Well,
it.
it's got to be true if you told me.
Well, absolutely.
'Cause I've never known him to tell me anything.
Never.
Kenny Roots brother?
But he would take peanuts and put it in his Coke. You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
I've heard people swear by it. I've tried it, but I don't really see what it does. But
Well, I know that people cook, and we should never go in the kitchen and watch them cook because things we've been eating our whole life. And I went in one time, and Jill's mom was making a ham, and she was pouring Coke over the top of it, and I flipped out. I was like, "What are you doing? Pouring a Coke over the top of this ham?"
Was it good?
Yeah.
of course it is. Carol's a great cook.
Yeah, she is a pretty solid cook.
Apparently, that's
I'm
not
guessing. But
Jake's a little better, but yeah.
is he?
No.
No.
The dude can barely
Jake can
run a
run the
microwave. I mean, I'm pretty sure Grandma has to tie his shoes in the morning.
when she when she would go out of town, you always laugh because she would come back and he would have like she's gone 5 days. He'd have 7 cereal bowls and 7 spoons piled up, and that's what he'd eat. There and guys,
it's that generation. Tassie's dad was the same way.
Right.
Like on the rare occasion that like her mom and her would go to Florida or whatever and leave Dave basically here with me, like I'd have to still go check on him. And I remember there was one time where he ran out of work clothes. He didn't know how to do laundry. I mean, he'd never had to do it. So I had to go, and he was embarrassed, right, that I had to go down there and do his laundry for him. I'm like, Dave, I don't care. I get it. And,
right. Let me fold your underwear while you sit here and watch TV.
but you know, like I used to work with a guy. He would talk about his wife's stepdad, you know, once again, 80-year-old guy or whatever. And it's like, you know, when you're having dinner and I can't remember the guy's name now, but he's like, you know, if he had drank all his sweet tea, I mean, and was ready for refill, you just lifted it up and shake that ice and let me get you another one.
Well,
You know, it was weird. I mean, my mom definitely did most of that stuff, but we knew how to do it. I knew I could clean house and all that. I mean, she made sure we knew how to do all that, but yet Jill always rolls her eyes because when she first started coming around, we'd all go out there. We'd be sitting down there eating at the table. And she's like, if anything, we'd be like, oh, there's none of this or we're out of that or where's the ketchup? And all of a sudden she just, boom, she's up. Before you can even say anything, she's right into the refrigerator to bring it back. And she's like, you know that if you just say like, oh, it looks like the butter's almost gone, instead of getting your mom will
instead of going to get it.
I was like, well, she's been doing it for 20 years. It's hard to, you want to make her feel bad.
It's funny. Like my grandma's like, if you're going down there, you stop by and like, you could stop by like unannounced. Right. And, oh, are you hungry? And,
right.
Well, I mean, I could eat a sandwich or something. Oh, no, let me cook up a roast real quick. And I got an apple pie right here.
Oh, yeah. You want some pancakes? Sure, I'll have 5 or 6.
And that's not our generation because you show up you better give us 4 or 5 days advance warning if you want something to eat.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't know. I think there's a half-eaten bag of Skittles up there somewhere.
Yeah, there might be a can of ravioli if you're lucky.
Right. There's some spaghetti noodles we can boil. I'm not sure we're going to put on it, but,
That's what Tassie's dad would always say. When he would reference Karen, he referred to her as the War Department.
I have a buddy of mine, his ringtone when his wife calls is the Star Wars, the Empire. The
Imperial March.
Yeah, the song they would play when Darth Vader would walk in. And he's happily married, but I just thought it was funny.
I had, at one point, oh, wait, I'm not allowed to talk bad about my wife. Never mind. We'll move on
to the next topic. See, you're learning though, because you normally would have just blurted out the story.
Well, we made a bet. We made a bet that if I didn't talk bad about her during the show,
she would let you come. She'd open the front door tonight.
No, that she would not speak to me for the rest of 2021. And
that's not that long.
That's
not that long. It's not that bad.
But if I do talk bad about her, then she gets to buy a new Explorer.
Ooh, yeah, you better holster that.
Yeah, so
that's going to be an expensive.
How long have you been married to Tassie?
So we've been married for 19 years. Yep.
19 years of bliss.
Yep. No, it's been 19 years. And altogether, probably 20. How old am I? So we had a break.
Isn't it
amazing? So altogether, what, 22, 3, 4 years?
But it just doesn't seem
You broke
like
up with her?
We should be old enough to be. It doesn't seem like we should be old enough.
No, not at all. Well, I mean, the fact that today's Malcolm's 21st birthday is amazing. I mean,
yeah, that's insane.
Gut wrenching.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, Gannon graduating high school back in May. Well, I mean, that was amazing in itself. But but now, like, he's all over. He wants to move out so bad it's not even funny, and I want him to too. But I'm joking. But trying to.
Well, you want it's
right.
I mean, it's good to see your kids be able to go on and do stuff.
But he has no idea of clearly the reality of things because he wants a down payment for a house for Christmas. I'm like, I don't know who you think your parents are, but
Yeah. Plus, you're kind of like, okay, well, let's just break this down. Let's say we do that. There's still a payment every month. And by the way, have you ever heard of real estate taxes and utilities and garbage pickup?
oh, and by the way, cell phone bill that
Right.
you're not paying for yet, and, all
Insurance
that,
on everything.
all this hunting that you like to do, not a cheap hobby.
Right.
No.
So
Nothing's cheap. Yeah. That's Malcolm always said, he goes, man, I just want a really simple life. I just want to, I could just live like in Shelbyville, like a
down by
place
the
like
river.
you guys do and just go out on the lake. And I'm like, yeah, that's real simple. start figuring out what that adds up to. You better be.
Yeah.
I think, I think we were married for 10 years and then bought a boat that was 8 years old and kept that boat for 11 years. It's like,
It takes time.
they get on me a lot. They think I'm cheap, which I think I'm efficient. But
you're frugal.
Right. We did the same thing. Lived in basically on the lake forever and bought a boat, I don't know, 6-7 years ago for $2,800. And of course it hasn't run for 4 years.
But think of all the money you're saving in gas.
That's right. That's what I tell them.
Grab an oar, kids. You want to go out? build character. Well, boats, vehicles, clothes, and groceries are a losing proposition. Every day you own a boat or a car, it's worth less than the day before. And,
Yes.
Kids need to understand that. And
Yes.
As soon as you drive it off the lot.
food and clothes, there's no way to come out. At least with a house, if you buy it correctly,
You can
got
maintain
a
it.
chance of at least breaking even if it, is going up in value as much as you're putting into it. But no chance on the rest of it. Money down the drain.
Well, I know the viewers out there are dying to know what you do for a living.
I bet.
The mystery.
So I work for a shipping and fulfillment company.
What's the name of this company?
Ship Bob.
Ship Bob.
Yep.
And how long have you been? You've been there.
So I've been there a little over 3 years.
Okay.
It's a startup company.
Mhm.
We're a little over 7 years old, rapidly growing.
Are they public?
Not yet. So
Chris is going to retire one of these
It
days.
would be nice, but I'm not sure if that'll happen. But we're probably 18 to 24 months from that.
Really?
So
Nice.
so now we're in that mode where, of course, there's a million different things you have to do in order to go public, which I'm not even going to pretend to know the least little bit about, other than I know so much of it's around compliance.
Did you hire a CEO that's taken companies public before? A lot of times they'll
No,
do that.
because our CEO and our COO are the two founders of the company.
Okay.
So
They're probably working with a institution that can do that.
Yeah, I mean, we have. We're so like when I joined the company, we had about 300 employees. So now we're around 1,000, and our worth is, I don't even remember how much it's increased since then, but I know they're starting to do a lot of things where, I guess what's been the interesting evolution is when I joined the company, you had a lot of inexperienced leaders there. Now, some of them are still here and have done an outstanding job. Some of them parlayed their time here into bigger and better things, et cetera. But we really, shortly after I started, you started to see the company bring in a lot more experienced folks that had 20 years of either running a company or running a supply chain. Now, granted, I wasn't one of those people,
Right?
But I don't know what they were thinking of bringing me on, but so you really start to see that evolution because with what we were doing or wanted to do, you really needed people that have done that, been there and done
Right.
that, and had that track record of knowing how to open facilities and obviously manage people, et cetera. So we're doing really well. So I'm the director of HR, which we refer to as people operations, and that's on the operations and fulfillment side. So
The cool part about what I've seen of those types of companies are that they'll have two things. They'll have what you're talking about, where they bring in people that have done that at other companies to help them get where they're going. But then they'll have the other half of the people, probably people like you, that they get to come in, but you learn, and if you're good at it and you grind and that sort of thing, you can get a lot more advancement quickly as opposed to going to a big established company. So then you either work your way up in that company and it goes public and you stay with it, or it's purchased one day and you work for that company, or you can take that experience and go to other places too.
yeah, I think that's a really accurate way of like describing it. It's like when I joined the team, I think I was like the 5th member of the HR team. Like my boss had only been there for like 6 months, so like we didn't even have like we had nothing at that point. Like we were true startup.
You're developing the processes.
Yeah.
You didn't even have a process for things, right?
Because she told me, she's like, I know I didn't hire you to recruit, but like we need to get these hourly positions filled across the country. I'm like, that's fine, I'll do whatever. I'm like, where do I find our interview guides? Oh, we don't have those.
Right.
You know what I mean? We had nothing. So we have built a lot. And like now our team is up to 26, 27 people, which granted that growth has kind of come, or the growth from our HR team has really come in the last year. Mm-hmm. So we've still been a pretty lean department.
Right.
So we've done a lot. Like I work with a lot of great people, a lot of passionate folks. I've got great team members. Mm-hmm. So that part of it is really fun, right? Like seeing the process.
Right.
And kind of seeing it evolve. And my boss is fantastic. I mean, I don't know where she gets the energy that she has, and she probably does the job of 3 or 4 people.
Right. Well, you have to a lot of times with those sides. I mean, you wear a lot of different hats.
Yep.
Whatever needs to be done gets done.
Well, and that's the cool thing too. Like, and this is something I always tell folks. Like, if I'm like, 'cause usually I'm like part of the interview process for like a lot of the operations leaders we bring in and whatnot. And I always tell them, like, one of the cool things about working here is like there are going to be times where you're going to have to do something that might technically be like a level below you, right? Like, because it's kind of that all hands, mentality or whatever. But there's also going to be times where you have to do stuff above you that you have no idea what you're doing,
right?
And then you got to try and figure it out and hope that you don't do something that's going to get you sued. Or,
and that experience will either get them moved up in this company, or it'll be great for their interview and their resume.
Well, and you just no matter what you want to do, like, because I once again, never ever thought I'd be somebody that work in HR. Right. I'm probably not your prototypical HR person, right?
It's probably why your interview guy says, are you a Denver Broncos fan? Are you opposed to switching to becoming a Denver Broncos fan? So I want to know, tell me about, ShipBob has not gone public yet. How many, like, what do you ship? Where are your warehouses? Like, all that kind of stuff.
So we have 4 core facilities, which we refer to as innovation centers. So we have one in eastern Pennsylvania, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. We have one in Dallas, Texas, technically Grapevine, Texas, Moreno Valley, California, and then Cicero, Illinois. And then our headquarters, kind of what's left of it, like is in Chicago, kind of on the West Loop. Pre-COVID, I mean, everyone went to headquarters. I mean, I was actually like the first remote employee they've ever really hired,
right?
Like, because our 2 co-founders, Devan and Drew, they weren't fans of it, but my boss knew that. I mean, we had worked together previously, and she knew that I was dependable, trust blah blah blah.
Or at least you had her believing.
Well,
that.
I had her believing that.
Right.
Yeah. I think she's starting to catch on, but so anyways, then when COVID hit, like every company out there, you weren't really sure what was going to happen, right?
Right.
Like, is your business going to fall apart? Is it going to thrive? I mean,
right.
And especially there, if you remember in the early going, right, it was. So if somebody gets COVID, are we going to shut down?
Right. I mean, nobody
knew anything.
Yeah, the rules changed,
it
every
literally
day.
catapulted all of us, no matter which industry you're in. We're saying like 12 years into the future. I mean, it really did as far as the virtual thing.
Oh, yeah.
Our company, so many companies were in the middle of building these new expanded corporate headquarters. And now today they're like a third full, and they're thinking,
why?
We didn't really need this.
No.
We found out people can be really productive virtually.
And that's exactly what we found out. We went and we basically shut down HQ or whatever. And then once, we started to progress through COVID, they started letting people come back. But then we actually went and downsized, and we basically are a fully remote company outside of our fulfillment centers. So then we also have a segment of the business that we call the SFN, so ShipBob Fulfillment Network. So basically that's where we go to existing third-party logistic providers, and we essentially go into their facilities and set up like a mini ShipBob, because we found that you had a lot of companies that had a lot of either unused space, right? So initially we're like, hey, that we could take some of our merchants that maybe they're not a great fit for our core buildings and move them into these other facilities where, they handle the labor, right? So we kind of go in, we set it all up, teach them, train them, and then we have some folks that still, of course, monitor and work with them, et cetera, as we go. So that part of the business has absolutely exploded, and that's what's allowed us to expand into Australia, England, Canada, and then, of course, several locations across the United States.
Really?
And so then, like, once again, like, post-COVID, like, we've never slowed down.
Do you specialize in a certain type of, I mean, what do you ship?
So we ship everything because we just deal with merchants, right?
Okay.
So we just have merchants. It's not like we ship anything that's ours, right?
So, will one of these days we be getting packages from ShipBob instead of UPS or FedEx?
Yeah, well, no, because we still ship it via FedEx, DHL, UPS, you name it. So we have our own like warehouse management system that'll figure out the best way to ship it for you, the merchant, right?
Okay.
So we want to provide a great merchant experience, right? We want you to know that when you have your product with us, like if it's going to get, depending on what it is, because, maybe you're selling A&W mugs, right? And maybe they have to be, packaged a certain way, et cetera. It sounds so simple, but like it's so complicated to figure out to actually believe that the product gets from point A to point B, right?
So you're like, hey,
So much in between.
if you're doing 10,000 of these a month, we can package it and we can get a contract with this carrier and get it to all your places for this month. If you're doing 100,000, we can do it this, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly how all that works. I don't have anything.
You just
to do with
hire
that.
the people to do it. You don't really need to know it.
No, I don't know that level, but no, I mean, I think the cool thing too is, especially when we started, is we really catered to the small and like mid-sized businesses. That was really kind of our niche, because you think about it, like other companies probably don't have to worry about them. So we're a startup that are helping other startups, and so that's kind of really
That's cool.
what helped us start to like evolve and grow. And
Well, no wonder it's exploded, because so much of that those startups have exploded since COVID. I mean, people have figured out new ways of doing business.
well, and once again, like when you ship, I mean, if you walk into one of our warehouses, I mean, you could see sunglasses, glasses, jewelry, health supplements, soda potentially, yeah.
Right.
Jewelry,
Broncos hat. I mean, assuming someone wanted one.
probably, maybe. We've got this little contraption that you use to shave your back. It's kind of cool.
So it's a lot of work, or
No.
Nope, piece of cake. Sit around and watch a lot of YouTube all day.
Right.
Watch the Mason Miller show.
well, I've heard good things about
Tweet people, get a life all day long. Till he gets canceled.
Get a life, Rosie O'Donnell.
it. So one thing I do want to talk about is
As opposed to what we've been talking about, that didn't sound good.
The kind of movies and music you like.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I think we
Because
know
I think
the
it's
music.
pretty interesting. Well, yeah, we have talked a little bit about the Motley Crue and the Poison and stuff like that. But what about movies? Do you have an all-time favorite movie?
Well, that's a tough question.
I mean, I've heard that Rocky was modeled after you.
Well, right. True underdog story, tales of perseverance. Probably First Blood.
Rambo?
Oh, absolutely. First Blood, Tombstone would be up there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Definitely top 5.
So when you go hunting, do you ever hide in the mud like this and open your eyes? All you can see is the white of your eyes?
Well, first of all, that is one of the greatest scenes in cinematic history. There's no doubt about that.
Could have killed you, and I could have killed them all.
Where were we at? Tombstone? Oh, Over the Top. That's
Another
probably top 5.
Stallone.
Well, yeah, and I almost wore my Hawk Calling T-shirt tonight.
Is that really in your top 5?
First of all, why are you asking me like that?
Over the Top.
It's one of the greatest movies ever, and an incredible soundtrack.
Chris wants to get out on the open road with the big
An
rig.
incredible soundtrack.
With an arm wrestling.
Stop at the CD bars with the arm wrestling.
I know I'm leaving. Oh, one of my all-time favorite movies, and I catch a lot of grief for this, believe it or not. Simon Birch. You ever seen it?
No.
I don't think so.
So a movie when I was going to Eastern, I went to Blockbuster,
Oh, yeah.
right? That's a video store.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Those are good old days.
Rented Simon Birch and
Get you a bag of stale popcorn while you're in there.
Right, that's right. Rented Simon Birch and American History X. Great movie.
Yeah, I watched American History X.
Yeah.
I don't remember Simon
So
Birch.
Simon Birch was a really good. Jill, you would love it.
Who's in it?
So Jim Carrey narrates it. Ashley Judd is in it. Oliver Platt, and I think that's his name, kind of a heavyset guy in a ton of movies. So it's about this little kid who he was born, like he was premature, maybe a birth defect or something, super, super small. He's got a best friend, and then Ashley Judd is the best friend's mom. the little boy, Simon Birch, his parents, they're not good parents. I don't think they ever really wanted him once he was kind of different.
So
But
you can relate.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Still, I'm not going to say that.
Pull back the reins on that one.
But Simon Birch has like incredibly strong faith, and some bad things happen throughout the movie, but it's just a really cool movie. And
Well, we're gonna have to watch it now.
yeah, and I just remember sitting there on my couch praying to God that Kuntz and Ryan Kuntz, who's probably even more ruthless than Toby,
Does it come in while you're watching it?
and Tim McConnell, because I'm sobbing as I'm watching it. I mean, just sobbing.
Oh, I wish. Can you imagine if they would have walked in there?
Because, that was the point, once again, 20 years old or whatever, where,
Toby's like the kind-hearted, soft one of between Ryan, especially Ryan and Matt. It would be, yeah.
I mean, bar set kind of low.
You talk about being thick-skinned growing up in that house.
But so anyways, Simon Birch would be up there.
What about comedy?
Ooh, a lot of people say I don't like to laugh, and I find that just absolutely crazy. I know, because it's ludicrous.
You can't always listen to your family.
True. Tommy Boy.
It's a great one.
Right,
That's a top 100 comedy.
Oh, absolutely. Top 100.
Yeah, top 100.
Like top 20.
Let's not get too
I mean,
crazy.
anything with Chris Farley.
Well, I know.
Black Sheep was wonderful, right? Obviously, you get in like his Matt Foley skits and
Well, SNL, yeah, he was great.
right back when SNL was decent.
Right.
It was good.
Yeah, unlike today. Awful.
It's like the Tonight Show. Also
Back
terrible.
in the day.
True. Yeah.
Johnny
like,
Carson. Oh,
Yeah, that would have been.
those
That's
old
one
skits
thing.
are hilarious.
Or the Arsenio Hall show.
I tell you what. Nothing like Bill Clinton playing a little sax.
Oh, yeah, we watched that.
I'm telling you
on
what,
the
that took
history.
him to a whole level. Arsenio Hall should get credit for Bill Clinton becoming president. Catapulted him.
Well,
I want to get off the rails here, but I mean that was a pivotal moment in history.
Plus, didn't Clinton wasn't that like the MTV Rock the Vote era?
I think it was, but I mean,
Oh, that reminds me of Black Sheep.
Clinton was like cool.
Yeah.
I mean, and I mean he went on there and played the saxophone and stuff, and with Arsenio Hall, and I
It was
mean,
like
he
Arsenio's
exploded.
first- Well, that
he was like this governor from Arkansas was in third place, and all of a sudden he was like, wow, I mean,
Right.
So comedies. Would you consider?
Do you like the older comedies, like the 80s comedies? And
Yeah, I don't like anything that was made after '95, whether it was music, movies, or anything.
people.
What about, like, Caddyshack?
I've never seen Caddyshack in its
What?
entirety.
That's insane.
There are a couple movies out there that I know it's
That's
totally
li-
agreed. Totally agreed. Now I'll tell you, I've been on a huge mob kick, so I've been watching tons
yeah.
of mafia movies.
Goodfellas.
Yep.
Did you ever
Casino.
see Boardwalk Empire?
Yeah. So I've been watching that.
Sopranos.
Really good.
Soprano. Yeah, I want to see the
The
Many Saints.
Who's the guy?
It was on HBO Max.
The guy in it?
Buscemi?
Yeah,
He's
he
awesome.
is awesome.
He is
very
good.
good.
He's awesome.
Yeah,
So
really, really good.
that's
My
a good
favorite
show.
movie of his is probably Fargo. You ever see that?
Oh yeah, Fargo was great. Did you ever
like
watch
that.
the series Fargo on FX?
No, I just watched the movie.
So there were some really good seasons of that.
Wasn't Ted Danson in one of those? I think Ted Danson did
Yeah,
one
he
of
was
those.
he was a cop in
I
it.
think that was the only one I saw, but it was really good. They
Yeah.
were well written.
The first one, and I can't remember if he was in the first one or not, but the first one was really, really good. There were a couple that went.
I think he was I mean, he was either the first or second season. I did watch it.
It was really good. Now I'll tell you another outstanding series used to be on FX, The Shield. Did you ever watch
Yes, really
No.
good. The bald
Michael
guy was
Chiklis.
very good.
that? You got to watch that. And Rescue Me, Dennis Leary.
Yep, that was
Absolutely
good.
fantastic. Especially the first few episodes. Absolutely fantastic.
You know, Buscemi was a real New
Yeah.
York firefighter.
Yeah.
and went back after 9/11 to help.
Yep. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Really cool.
Yep. Now Buscemi also one of his greatest roles ever, albeit a small role, was in The Wedding Singer.
Yeah, you're right.
He was the best. He was the best man's brother or whatever. And he gets all drunk.
It's hard to believe. Wasn't he in Grown
Yeah,
Up?
him and Sandler are really
Yeah.
tight.
I think so.
He's in every Sandler movie.
Yeah.
And
Grown
then to see him in
Ups,
Boardwalk
all of that.
Empire, I mean, he's actually a really good actor to be able to
Reservoir
transition that
Dogs.
much. Yeah.
I watched. I didn't know if I'd like it or not, especially because it was long and my attention span can get a little short at times. But it was the one with De Niro. and-
Irishman.
yeah, that was really good. I thought.
Remember, Ricky Gervais was hosting the Oscars last year, and he's like, we were going to show you a quick clip of The Irishman, but it's 90 minutes long, so we're not going to do that.
I thought it was really good. And then I saw the other day on Twitter that there's some new leads where they think they know where Hoffa's body might be. Somewhere in
burned
Jersey.
up, it's nowhere.
Well, they think it's in Jersey now, and it seems like it would have been in an obvious location. He said it was kind of like a gangster's graveyard.
Yeah, out in the growing up, I had always heard that Hoffa was buried in the
Glenwood Cemetery,
the old Meadowlands.
Yeah, like
stadium in the foundation. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So, been really into that. I also watched.
Godfather.
Well, that was on the other day, and I watched a little bit of it. But Gotti with Travolta.
Oh yeah,
Was it good?
I thought it was good.
Really?
a lot of people said it was bad, but I don't know. It was okay.
Well, I don't know how good it was. I mean, I thought it was entertaining, but that was
He looks a lot like him.
he did. I thought he did a really good job. Because I've watched some documentaries since then. But once again, like I watched it when I was really, really getting into like this mafia stuff. And Jude and I are wired very similar. Like when we get into something, we're all in.
Oh,
We're gonna
yeah.
watch everything
You know.
until you're tired of it and then
Yeah.
you move on.
Yeah. So like you're going on DirecTV or whatever. You're just searching mafia.
Well, you finish something, and then down below it's like the next thing you might like, and there's like a string of 8
Oh
of
my
them. So
gosh.
you're like binging on them. aren't you?
All right, one more episode, and then I'm going to go to bed. And then you get done with that. Okay, just one more.
We've talked about this before. So back when the Sopranos, were coming out, it was pre all the streaming stuff, way before that, and it was DVDs, and HBO would release the box set. Well, I didn't have HBO because we were too cheap to have HBO. But my brother's like, hey, you got to try it. You got to watch this. I mean, you would love this. And I'm like, whatever. So probably 3 or 4 seasons, maybe 3 seasons had gone by before I'd ever seen it. And so I think maybe he got me the box set or something for Christmas. And I'm like, whatever,
Still
I'll
have
try
it.
it. And I watched first episode. I'm like, I don't see it. Second episode, third episode, I'm like in, and then I remember just blowing through that thing, and it was a work night, and it's like 4 a.m, and Jill's like, you watched that all, and you're like zombie the next day, and then nothing for a year, and a new one comes out, and you just
It's like
plow through 'em again.
it's like Breaking Bad.
Oh,
Same show.
Never finished it. I got bored with it.
Oh, you are out of your mind.
I ran through that so fast.
Well, once again, I reference my attention span. I really struggle when I watch a series. Like, if
Did you give it 5 episodes? You got to give it 5 episodes.
No, I watched several seasons of it. I just gave up on it and didn't watch it till the end.
Yeah.
Now then I came back and I watched that movie that came out not that long ago with Jesse in it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And that was okay.
Have you ever watched the prequel, the Better Call Saul?
Yeah, but same thing. I don't think I ever finished it.
He's great. I mean, he's a
good
really
actor.
He's
Oh,
a great
yeah.
actor, too.
Oh, yeah.
And hilarious.
Yeah. And I liked that better than Breaking Bad for sure.
Really?
And speaking of Chris Farley, he wrote that motivational speaker skit for him.
Yeah, they were, but yeah, because in the documentary that came out about Farley, he's in it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were good friends, and they were starting that little comedy club, and I don't know, where was it?
like Second
Chicago.
City.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he was awesome. And Farley's brother, it's kind of eerie too.
Oh, Kevin?
because he looks like him.
Yeah,
Kevin.
looks just like him. Twins.
Yeah.
We're going to take our another quick break, and we'll be right back.
One last reminder, head out to No Bad Days this Friday, December 3rd, for their Santa event. Check out at No Bad Days Farm on Instagram and Facebook to see all the details. It's an event you won't want to miss.
Welcome back for our final segment with Chris. And we've had 2 great sodas tonight that you picked. So, I mean, the butterscotch one, you said you didn't like that one as much as the Twigs.
No, but I liked it. I mean, I pick winners. That's what I do.
Well,
So
yeah.
That's why he should
Pick two
be
good ones
working in the
again.
front office of.
that's right. That's
Maybe he
absolutely
could get some Broncos, some players.
Just got to find a quarterback
Right.
because it's not Teddy Bridgewater.
So, Chris, walk us through a typical day in the life of Chris Beals.
Well, I get up at 4 a.m. Usually sit outside on the front porch and
Smoke
Watch-
a cigarette.
have a cigar, watch nature come to life, pet my
Actually,
dog.
gets up at 4 a.m., goes to the bathroom for the 3rd time, goes back to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to remember what day it is.
Right. Do you still go to the dam and put a log on your shoulder?
Well, sometimes I go to the dam. Sometimes I just like to go right out behind the house.
Right.
I mean, you
Because it's
really
a little more rougher terrain.
Right.
You really prefer it to be snow, though, if you're going to run.
Yeah, I do.
And have a Mercedes follow you behind you.
Yeah,
Like
you know
that.
that you need that little extra motivation sometimes on those cold winter days.
Right.
But it's now that we're headed for another Cold War, that'll probably help with my motivation as well.
Right.
So,
Fight communism.
right.
Running up mountains.
Right. So, and I've got the rafters in the garage where I can string the bag of boulders.
Right.
So that works well.
You can hang off
Do you have
the
a cart
loft
you
and
can pick up?
do sit-ups.
Right. I mean, that's how you get this 6-pack.
Right.
Duh.
You just got
All
shave some stuff away.
It's all about core strength.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, unlike a lot of people from what I hear, I didn't lose weight during COVID. I'm pretty sure I gained 20 pounds because all I wanted to do was eat because I so badly wanted to taste something.
But
Oh, really?
but you
And I was
didn't get
bored.
anything from it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So you just sort of you're like, if I keep eating this, maybe I'll eventually
Yeah,
taste
yeah.
it.
Like I even tried one of the internet hacks where you take an orange and you char it over an open flame, then you peel it and mush it with brown sugar. 'Cause,
Yeah, I'd heard
supposedly
that. I'd
that's
heard
worked
that.
for people. Doctors say they don't know why it would, but
There's
I
somebody
tried it.
putting it on there dying laughing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, watch
What
all
an
these people
idiot.
do this. Yeah.
Sucker.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, you get an orange and some brown sugar.
Why not? Really good for you.
Did you taste it?
No.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Whenever I had COVID and I couldn't taste or smell, I'd go through McDonald's and get the nastiest thing I could find because I wouldn't eat it normally. So I get I don't know.
Well, it's pretty much anything at McDonald's, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but something I just eat food that I wouldn't normally eat because
Well,
you can't
that's
taste anything.
the guy I work with kept telling me, he's like, you got to try whiskey because I do not like whiskey at all. Like, I got to try it, just see. I'm like, well, yeah. So normal day, get up early.
About 4.
Yeah. About 6:30, get in front of the computer and start doing some of the work. About 6:35, I hear Tassie screaming at Misha to get out of bed, which takes several.
Did she scream at Jude?
It's like the Waltons, but you're
No, we're anything but.
you'd have to be our age or older to know what the Waltons are. But yeah,
Right. Yeah, I don't think the Beals have ever been compared to the Waltons, the Cleavers, the Bradys.
the Griffiths.
No, Jude gets up. He's usually not too bad. He gets up about 10 after 7. Gannon leaves for work about 6:30, 6:45. So of course, he's easy. Once Jude's up, he takes his half-hour shower. So our water bill is absolutely insane. I don't even know how it's possible.
You should just pipe it in from the lake. You're not far.
True. But yeah, usually, at my job, we're pretty meeting heavy. So
A lot of conference calls, a lot of
yeah.
Zoom
But we're
stuff.
trying to be better about that. Like we're trying to be really intentional about that because we know we've just gotten carried away or whatever. So then noon, 1 o'clock, get a little lunch, maybe. Usually eat it while I'm sitting in front of the computer. Usually a lunch of canned tuna, maybe some spinach. Of course, more water.
raw egg.
Of course, more
Right,
water.
right. Usually watch a few inspirational videos in the mid-afternoon just to prepare myself for my family coming home.
Yeah, have you found that when you're doing that all day long, I mean, you have to get up and do something to move it, or you'll look up and be like, man, I've been sitting here literally all day.
So I will actually, probably 1 or 2 times a month, I'll actually go and I'll work out of Kuntz's conference room
Oh,
just
for
to get
something
around
different.
people. Like
Yeah.
if I'm not traveling at all.
Right.
I used to be really good about having like NFL radio playing or even just music. And then I found where I got really bad about not having anything but silence.
Mm-hmm.
Probably isn't the healthiest thing.
I know.
Which is fine if you're actually in meetings. But then like when you get like your hour to actually work on a project or something.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely, it's definitely a challenge, I think.
Times when I'm not on the field and I'm working, I mean, it does get like after a few days, it's like, man, you gotta go be around people or something.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure that the kids or the neighbors think that I'm unemployed or something because this is, I'll be like, oh, he's got the same sweats on today, I see, and has it shaved, walking that dog. Just depressing, poor guy. Wish he could find some work. Poor Jill.
I've had that thought too. Like, I don't think about that as much since so many people work remote. Because I know, like, for years, even when I worked for like Kraft, I would have some days where I would work from home, and my friends just could not handle it. Like, oh, are you working?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I am actually. Like,
It's a relief when you do go out from home.
Yeah.
You do a lot less
Yeah.
than when you're there.
yeah. I mean, that's like tomorrow when I do go up to our fulfillment center. That's get out on the floor talking to people. And,
energizing a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Get them pumped up about HR.
Oh,
well played.
yeah,
Well played.
nice. Go talk to the high school kids. But who in here wants to be an HR director? When
Hey, in our senior homerooms, we're looking for people to come in and talk for 30 minutes.
Chris Beals would be your man.
I did that once at Eastern.
Not only did I dominate when I was in this school, guys, out there on the
right.
gridiron.
And not only did I dominate as a coach,
Now I dominate in life.
I don't see any of you out here that have the ability to dominate. You're so soft.
Let's get in the weight room. I mean, I'm not going, but you guys.
I'll tell you what to do.
Right. I don't want to pull something.
I'll tell you, it's funny you say that because over the last couple of months, like I'd gotten to the point where I started going to the chiropractor because my back was hurting so bad, and it had to be from sitting so much
Right,
throughout the
it
day,
does.
which is pathetic.
I got one of those floating desks that you can lift up and
yeah.
stand.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's difference maker because there's sometimes I can't stand to sit there anymore. Even if it's a conference call for a long time or something, just being able to stand up and move around a little bit makes a big difference.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
For sure. I'll go work, like sometimes I'll go into the kitchen table or whatever just because
Mm-hmm.
it's a different chair. It's pathetic once again.
right.
But it is true. I mean, I started going, like I said, started going to the chiropractor, and of course, it would probably also help lose a little weight. But
Like, you really, if you take 30 minutes over your lunch and work out real hard,
Yep.
and it's-
You're starting
they always say
Monday.
that, and it's like
But you never said
Well,
which
yeah.
Monday.
well, yeah, the comeback starts.
he's
Monday.
waiting on Coons. It's starting on Monday.
I never told you which Monday, though.
Well, I can't do it. That's the problem, and I don't like the word "can't." Right? I don't think that should be part of anybody's vocabulary.
Oh,
Feel free to use that.
feel free to use
Now
that.
he's slinging his HR lingo on everybody when he's up front. All these people he's got snow days, like, he's a really positive motivator, and I like that. I wish so bad that a group of us could come and sit in the back of one of your meetings sometime. The boys will hear me on the phone, and they're like, do you hear Dad's voice? It doesn't sound like the same person.
Oh,
There really is. There's a normal voice,
Oh, yeah.
and there's a phone voice, and there is a difference.
Well, you know what? The people that I work with, I haven't had to tell them, put a napkin on your lap for 14 consecutive
Yeah.
years. So they do get a different voice.
Yeah. Hey, could you not piss all over the toilet seat?
Well, it wasn't me.
It's when they get on the phone, it's, oh, hi, this is Mason. How can I help you? Or something like that.
Tassie just did it the other day. She walked in, shut my door, said, so fake. Fake.
No, what I want to say, no, this really is the real me. You force me to be that way.
Yeah, okay. That's the way it is.
I'm trying to raise semi-productive citizens.
Semi-productive. We're
it
shooting for semi.
Seems like you should know to open a door and let other people walk in it first. I've been telling you this for 15 years. So,
Or you should know that when you walk into a doorway, you don't just take your boots off and leave them right there in the middle of said doorway.
Right.
Or that when it's 30 degrees outside, you should actually shut a door.
Yep.
But once again, wasn't me.
Well, it goes back to the coaching your own kids. Yeah, you are going to be a little different because you expect, like, come on,
Oh. Chris Beals, Bobby Knight.
and nobody's paying you to raise your kids. So
No.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, you're right.
if you want those patients and that voice, that comes at a price.
That's right. You're exactly right. And that's the thing, too. I think, our kids, I'm sorry, Mason, but have zero idea of what all we do for them on a daily basis. And once again, just a simple thank you every now and again would go a long, long way.
We're peeling away the layers of Chris's onion right here.
I know Jude and everyone really appreciates what you do.
That's a lie.
He tells me every day. In
I bet he
class.
does. Yeah. Nice try, though.
Every day. I love my dad.
My dad's the greatest. Yeah, I bet it's a real debate between Jude and Mason, whose dad's the best. I bet that comes up all the time.
Oh gosh.
Mason and Malcolm act like the other day Joel stopped by at school and had dinner with Malcolm. They were coming through with Mason, and she made I guess Malcolm said something about Mason had just gotten released from the doctor that he could start his throwing program, to get ready for baseball, and this guy that he used to work with moved. He doesn't do it anymore. And Malcolm didn't know that. And his name is Clyde. And he's like, oh, so you can start going to Clyde. And Mason goes, Clyde moved. And Joel goes, Malcolm goes, so it's just you and Dad.
Well, Mason, what do you want to do?
Like in school?
Well, as a career.
Well, I'm not really sure yet.
What do you, I mean...
He's hoping this podcast thing
Well, sure.
takes off so
Well,
he and Malcolm can share the basement and, you know,
Forever.
take our boat out on the weekends and
And enjoy that easy life.
But they don't realize I'm selling this house and that boat. Joel and I are moving somewhere else right there.
Oh, I don't really know yet. Still trying to figure everything out.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Sure.
What do you want to do when you grow up, Chris?
Working in an NFL front office.
There you go.
Or front a heavy metal band.
I've always said
Either
my
one.
backup plan is a monster truck driver, but still waiting for that thing to kind of work out.
I sent him a video the other day of one crashing. I'm like, you want to rethink that? That would be cool, though. I'm all for it.
Hey, you make good money doing it. Why not?
You know,
And we kid about our kids. I mean, I kid about Malcolm all the time. I'm like, moving back here and living in the basement or whatever, which, you know, whatever. But I always tell the boys, I'm like, whatever you do, when you're young, I mean, whatever you think you want to do, go 100. I mean, because you got nothing to lose and you can always do something else.
Yep. Yeah, you can always pivot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like Gannon, you know, right now he's working construction for Bain, but he wants to do something along those lines. And even if he doesn't do that forever, he's going to learn a ton of skills that he can use in his own home or whatever. You know, Jude wants to, this is going to shock you, wants to be a professional referee.
I know he's told me that. It said it's his one dream to be an NFL referee.
Which is actually a really good idea because there is a huge shortage of referees, certainly like high school and whatnot. So we've had several, well, I should say several. We've had a couple of referees like during the season that after the games be like, hey, do you mind if we talk to your team for a second? And of course you're thinking, oh God. And
Trying to recruit kids.
But yeah, that's what they said. Hey, if you have any interest in becoming an official, like even if you want to do JFL games, like make a couple $100 on a Saturday. With pretty low pressure,
money.
Right.
You know, and
well, yeah, look, go to basketball and football games. I mean, I don't know what the average age of an official is around here, but they've got to be like 60 years old, average.
Yeah, in Illinois, and I know in Illinois there's just a huge shortage.
Yeah.
Now I don't know, you know, if it's more football, basketball, or whatever, but like Jude's talked about that. I'm like, dude, I think that's an absolutely awesome idea. I mean, you're doing something you obviously enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be really good at it because I know you know the rules very well. You're very black and white, although I don't know that if any fan will remain in the stands or...
I don't take any... I'll have both coaches ejected by the...
Exactly. I'm like, I do find it interesting that you want to be a referee when you've never, ever agreed with a referee, umpire, official of any sort.
Hey, welcome to the football game. We're getting ready for kickoff, and both coaches have been ejected.
It's an ironic turn. And when he told me that, I was like, oh, yeah, you'd be pretty good at that.
And the referee just tackled the running back.
Oh, that would be funny.
It would be so awesome to see him if he would ever get to be a professional referee, to see him in a...
It'd be like when Hurtis came for Meet the Rams and the gym filled up to watch him make his... Everybody would be going to watch Jude. We were like, we got to watch.
Oh, my gosh, that'd be
be no BS in this game.
Oh, man. That'd be a heck of a mix.
That's fine.
Well, Chris, thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Had a blast.
It was a great time.
Absolutely.
We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We let people like you back on the show that were good, not like,
awesome.
Toby. But
I mean, I do fully expect this to be your highest rated show.
Well,
so,
I'm sure there'll be some competition.
Right. Pete and Toby will be watching the counter.
Well, once again, you heard my thoughts on Pete and Laura's show. I mean, Laura carried the show. So
Well, we all expected that pretty much.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Poor Pete. That pizza is going to get a lot more expensive the next time you go up there.
I don't know if it can. I'm kidding, Pete. Love you.
That was Chris once again, the Mason Miller Show.
Well, don't forget you can buy all the sodas that we tried on the show, and they're
Where
available
can you buy
at
'em at?
Where can you get them?
Jake's Antiques, and a select few available at Joe's Pizza. So make sure you head on down there and get a pizza and buy a soda. So we have a new shipment in right now, so make sure you go check it out at Jake's Antiques, and we'll see you next time.